want to explain the worst case scenario for somebody who has no space, they have a little backyard, and there's enough room for 50 5-gallon pails, nothing else. You have no good soil there, you have nothing. So your budget is $500. And what you want to do is you want to grow, in the first growing season, you want to get your $500 back. Year 2, year 3, year 4 is a different story. We're talking about being self-sufficient in the first year. So you want to get your $500 back that you've invested into this. So the budget that I'm proposing is you buy 50 5-gallon pails at $5 each, and you're spending $250 on your containers. You're filling those 50 buckets with soil, good soil that doesn't need any fertilizer or anything. It's decent already. You buy it from a soil yard, and it's costing you $100. You show up with a vehicle, you fill up the 50 buckets there, and you bring them back home. Now you're going to go and you're going to say, I live in Tennessee, I'm going to use AI to buy the 15 most productive seeds in your area. So you punch in an AI, productive vegetable seeds, and then you punch in your area, and it'll spit out the 15 most productive seeds that you could use in your garden. You can do that more in depth, where you say to yourself, okay, what are the most productive tomato seeds or tomato varieties in my area? AI will give you that information, and you try to buy 15 different types of vegetable seeds for $150. So now you've spent the $500. You have 50 pails of great soil filled up in your pails, and now you have to decide how you're going to distribute these 15 seeds into these 50 pails. With the objective of growing $500 worth of food, you could also do a search, what are the most expensive vegetables in my area, and you could have, instead of having 3 containers with tomatoes, you could have 7 if they're more expensive, okay? So it's up to you to distribute the 15 varieties in these 50 pails. Now the really nice thing about these pails are that you can, with the handles, you can move them into the sun when you want to. You can move them into shade when they're burning up. So this flexibility of these pails is phenomenal, because you can move stuff around in the backyard or wherever you're doing this. Now, 50 pails divided by 15 seeds is 3.3. 3 pails per vegetable. Or you could have more of other types. You can also have fast-growing seeds like radishes, where you could get 3 or 4 harvests in one season. So the objective is growing $500 worth of vegetables according to the price in your local area, which means every one of these containers has to produce $10 worth of vegetables. And you can apply that to a plot, you can apply it to any part of your garden by using the same math that you're saying, okay, I need to grow $500 worth of vegetables with $150 worth of seeds. Is it feasible? 100%. Is it possible? 100%. It's up to you to also understand how these seeds behave. Knowledge, in growing in a pail, knowledge is king, because it's a very contained environment, and each pail is an ecosystem, and you have to maximize the use. If you put 5 tomato seeds in here, is it overcrowded? That takes experience. If you put poles in each one for each seed, you probably could get away with growing 5 plants in one container. Now, how many tomatoes does it take to get $10 worth of tomatoes? As you can see, it is very likely that you would get $10 worth of tomatoes out of a pail if you paid attention to it. So this idea of creating these micro environments to grow $10 worth of vegetables is a very possible scenario. So if you tried this out, let's say you go for it, and you actually figure out that, okay, the cucumbers are spreading out over the ground. They need more room around the plant, around the pail. The melons are doing the same thing. Whatever you decide on, the carrots are filling up the pail completely. You can get 2 crops out of the carrots. So this idea of getting the $500 is all about your own imagination. How do you get to this $500 mark? How do you do that? And that requires you to do research, to use AI if you can, and to use these pails, maximize their effort. This is year 1. Remember, you have year 2, 3, 4, 5 to do this again. And make notes of what seeds did well, what vegetables did well in your area. Figure out where you place these pails, in full sun, in half shade. Like, there's so much going on here with these 50 pails that it's a great learning curve for somebody who's starting out in gardening. It's a new way of looking at how you can actually take this process and apply it to a garden bed. And it's a great learning experience for everyone to figure this out, especially if you have never gardened before or you don't have any space. These 50 pails, it's a very interesting way of looking at how you can grow your own food. Yeah, so let's go through the mathematics of how to use, or the process of how to use a pail like this, a 5-gallon pail. I have these cuts that are all in the same direction so the pail remains strong. And this is the best way to promote drainage in these pails, by having these slits instead of holes. This works phenomenally well. Now, whatever you do, don't fill this up with gravel and then put soil in here. Fill this all the way up with soil, because what happens is the water, when it hits a different material, it accumulates. So if you had gravel in here and soil, the bottom of the soil would retain a lot of moisture. Just have everything soil. That way the water has the same consistency to travel out through the back. So that's how you use these pails. Now when you water these pails for your vegetables, they're very effective. And what I mean by that is the water gets basically trapped inside these pails. So they need less water and less frequent watering to grow these vegetables. So it's sort of a self-contained microclimate, these pails, which makes growing in them very, very easy. Yeah, so why is it so important to do this experiment? Number 1, you actually will figure out or find out what real food tastes like when you grow it yourself. You know the source of this food. You know that there's no chemicals added, fertilizers added. There's nothing added. You're just growing from seed this really pure type of vegetable that is unrecognizable if you've never grown your own food. So that experience of growing this food is really, really important for you to understand what real vegetables are supposed to taste like and the nutritional value they're supposed to have when they've completed their growing cycle. Very important for you to understand that if you grow your own food, you're in control of what you're eating, and you're also, with these 50 pails, you're starting a learning curve. You're starting to understand, okay, if I grow my own food, this is how I'm going to feel. This is what it feels like when I eat this food. It's a very different experience that is really valuable for anyone who has never gardened before, to experience this dynamic of growing your own food. And if you're an experienced gardener, it's the same thing, that you basically are applying the 50 pail message of what can I achieve in a 10 meter by 10 meter garden? How much food can I grow? What is it costing me? How much money do I save? How much labor is involved? All those things are really important when you grow your own food. Okay.